Hi, this is Cinque, and you're listening to Final Fantasy Union. Caramba!
Hi everyone, and welcome to a special edition of the Final Fantasy Union podcast. Type-0 HD is obviously now out, and I'm your host Daryl, and we're joined by Dan.
Hello.
And we're also joined by Cristina Vee. Hey Cristina.
Hi, everyone.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm on vacation for the weekend. I'm sorry I sound so stuffy. I have allergies.
That's the dedication.
Yeah.
So yeah, Cristina has been involved in loads of different voiceover projects from both anime and video games. Some highlights include roles in Sailor Moon, Kill Kill, Drakengard 3, Blaze Blue, and she also voices Riven in League of Legends and has been involved in hosting for League of Legends events. What was that like?
That was amazing. The first time I did anything like that, and the support that we received, all the hosts those years, was so much fun, and it gave me it really made me want to start doing more on-camera stuff. And so, yeah, I'm really happy that I was able to do that.
No, that's awesome. But yeah, for the purposes of this interview, we are most interested in your role as Cinque in Final Fantasy Type-0 HD.
Yay! It's finally out!
Yes, it is.
Hooray!
But yeah, before we get on to talking about Christina's illustrious career, I'd like to remind everyone that Final Fantasy Union is part of a podcast series called Final Fantasy and Kingdom Hearts Union, and it's presented by the Gaming Union Network, and for the purposes of these interviews, Square Enix. It will come out on the iTunes Store, FinalFantasyUnion.com, and YouTube.com/FFUnionVids. So, first question is from James Samuel Vera, and he wants to know what inspired you to pursue a career in voice acting?
Hi, James. So, I hear this is a pretty uncommon story, but I always wanted to be a voiceover actor. That's what I grew up wanting to be. In fact, I was watching this show when I was about 7 called Sailor Moon, and it hit me around then, maybe when I was like 8 years old, let's say, that somebody was providing voices for Sailor Moon, that somebody's job was to be Sailor Moon, and I wanted to be that person. So that's what really got me started, because I grew up during that era of the Disney Renaissance, and I wanted to be in anime. I wanted to be in Disney cartoons, and back then video games weren't really being voiced, but it was really awesome when we started getting auditions for games, and when they started becoming fully voiced. So that's how I decided to be a voice actor.
So that must have been so cool then, because if Sailor Moon was essentially what inspired you to get into it, when it's come full circle and you're now playing like one of the main roles in that series.
It's really affirming to me, because we're dubbing the original series again. I never expected to be that character in the same show I grew up watching. So it's really affirming to me, and it kind of makes me feel like I'm doing something right, and that I can do anything that if I really, really work towards it. So I'm really happy about being cast in Sailor Moon.
That's a pretty inspirational story.
Yeah, right. Definitely achieving your dreams.
Yeah, dreams!
I suppose off the back of that, obviously, yeah, you say you wanted to get into voice acting, like, in general, but how about, like, in video games? How did you actually get started voicing video games? Asks, that's a question from David Lightning Sarah Farron.
So my first experience with voice acting in games was in Street Fighter 2 for SNES. And, all that was, ha, yeah, yatta! And that, growing up, I think, even growing up with video games as they kind of evolved into being voiced has really helped me out, because I can see what they want. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't really get it. Like, what's that mean? Like getting hit grunt, And the way I got into video games was I had my foot in the door. I was starting to do some anime, and suddenly we started getting anime video games in. And so they wanted the anime voice actors to do it. And so that's how I started getting my first video game roles.
So who did you play in Street Fighter then?
Oh, I'm not in Street Fighter yet, but I was talking about playing it as a kid on SNES.
I think we thought you meant you're actually the voice
sorry.
in.
That would be amazing. That's one of my goals to be in a Street Fighter game.
I was going to say, you must have started really young as a voice actor.
5 years old.
This next question is from Mando Tellez. He wants to know, how did you feel about voicing a character in a popular franchise such as Final Fantasy?
So one of my goals, my bucket list items for voice acting was to be in a Final Fantasy game. And I didn't know this was a Final Fantasy when I auditioned for it because they don't tell you. They give you a code name. And I thought, oh, wow, this looks like Final Fantasy. Oh, there's a Moogle in this game. All right.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Kind of gives it away then, isn't it? So much for code names.
I mean, you just kind of take it in good faith. Like, oh, okay, maybe this... Have you guys heard what the code name for this game was?
I think it's something quite ridiculous, right?
On paper it doesn't look very bad because it's just a capital P.
That was it? It was called P?
No. It was called Yellow P.
Oh,
I was like, okay. And I didn't think anything of it till I said it out loud. I was like, oh, interesting. So I'm auditioning for Yellow P. And, it's just one of those many auditions you get from your agent. And I submitted and, I tried to forget all about it. But I thought, man, that game looks pretty cool. And about half a year later, I hear that I'm on hold to record for it, which is a long time. Yeah, and I was really excited and a little bit nervous at first to be part of such a huge franchise and to know that my character is one of the playable characters. Because it's always a little scary when, your dreams actually do come true. It's like, oh, all right, let's get this right then. I'm very excited and happy to be part of it. I feel very proud. And yeah.
Wow, 2 things off your bucket list, Sailor Moon and Final Fantasy. That's
yeah!
really impressive. I don't think many
Thank you.
people could really say that they've achieved that much in their lives that what they actually set out to do.
Aw, thank you. I still have so much to
Oh,
go.
yeah, exactly. Now you got to think of even bigger goals.
Yeah.
Let's see, another Final Fantasy game or another Sailor Moon series. So Natalie asks about your character in Final Fantasy Type-0 HD, Cinque. What's your favorite thing about her?
My favorite thing about Cinque, I was really happy to hear how powerful she is in battle. Because I love how, I don't even know how to describe this character archetype, because she's just really silly, and she talks very slow, for one. Yeah, I really don't know how to describe her, but I love that such an adorable character like Cinque gets to pack a mace.
Which is
and gets
bigger
to
than
kick
her.
butt. Yeah, it's gigantic. And I think that's my favorite thing about her.
And off the back of that, Derwin Hughes was actually wondering if there's anything that you can relate to with regards to her kind of quirky and childlike attitude.
I think that Cinque is actually me. If I was, amped up to 100%, I think I'd be very similar to Cinque because I definitely do have that. People have described me as quirky and, a little bit odd, and I am. And I think that's probably the reason I got to play Cinque. It's like, oh, I totally get you, Cinque. I know what you're doing here. So, yeah, I definitely relate to the quirky aspects of Cinque.
What's that saying that Cinque has? If you're going to hit something, make sure you hit it really, really hard, or something like those lines, right?
Yeah. I agree.
So, Cinque refers to a lot of characters in game using cute nicknames. Did you actually have any influence over those names? Or were they all written in stone in the script and you just followed what was written down?
Oh, you know what? I think they were already adorable as is, so we kept them that way.
It's fair enough.
Yeah. I didn't get to write any of the names.
I think Moglin is definitely one of the nicknames that's going to stick around for a while.
Yeah, I love Moglin.
So this next question is from Knight of Gales, who wants to know, does your approach or process change when you portray a colder character such as Rory compared to a more bubbly one such as Cinque?
Ooh. See, this is okay, I'm either cast as 2 characters. One is the really quirky, silly one, or I'm cast as emotionally damaged. And so, yeah, it changes a lot. You just have to, it's completely different acting wise. And I'm glad that I get to play both because I love playing both. When it comes to the cold and kind of emotionally detached characters, I'm really happy that I get, to do that for work, to get to go to that place and explore those emotions.
I guess it must be quite draining as well as an actor. Or is it, what's it like to explore those kind of emotions? Do you feel at the end of it, like, thank God it's over? Like, or is it like an acting process that you just seem to go through and just, quite naturally almost?
I feel like it's pretty cathartic. I did this show called Madoka Magica, and I play a character named Homura Akemi, and she goes through like the hugest character arc I've ever seen in any show. But I loved every minute playing of it. It's not tiring at all. I mean, I think, acting in general is tiring because you're using so much mental energy and even physical energy when you're in the booth. But, I'm really happy for those moments that I get to explore those sides of, human emotion and personality.
So let's take it back to Final Fantasy Type-0. If
Yes.
you could pick any weapon when going into battle, would you also pick a huge giant mace like Cinque? Or do you go for something else?
I really like the ranged weapons. I like to be, I like to hit from far away then run away. What are my options? I know Deuce has a flute.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So
That's
Deuce,
what everyone remembers.
Deuce has a flute, but yeah, we've got like big spears. We've got bows and arrows, guns.
Cards.
Does anybody shoot rainbows?
Not that I know of.
But we could make a gun. Well, technically, I guess you've got a magic gun, so that kind of could shoot rainbows.
Yeah, and I mean, Ace has like fires laser beams sometimes.
Laser beams are pretty cool. See, I like that. You can hit from really far away. I guess, gun, yeah, you can shoot, but I don't know. It's not as elegant as a laser or a rainbow. You know what I mean?
I think so. I don't know, we're just nodding at each other right now, like,
Yeah.
Maybe it's something you can suggest to Badasan for
the next one.
if there is one.
I suppose, yeah, it'll be a good support weapon. Blind your enemies with bright colours.
Yeah, just say it's been suggested by Cristina. There needs to be a weapon that fires rainbows.
It can be Sync's alternate weapon. Sync should shoot laser beams or rainbows. I think it'll match your personality.
That's it. Oh, yeah, no, when she smashes the ground, yeah, rainbows come out.
Yeah,
That
that'd be
works.
perfect. So on that note, we got a question from Natalie, another one, who actually wants to know if you can remember. Do you know what Cinque actually says when she uses her earthquake ability? Because she's never been able to quite catch on to it.
Okay, so luckily we discussed this before we started the interview because I didn't know exactly what the earthquake ability was. But I think it's like my favorite line that I got to say in the game too. And so when she does the earthquake ability, she says crumble, which is crumble, but really held out. And I'm really interested to hear like what other people kind of interpreted it as. We heard what was it?
Cripple.
Ripple.
Cripple.
Yeah, ripple.
Ripple.
Yeah, there's a few different variations in there, but no one's been able to officially say what it is so far, so it's good that we know.
Officially, it is crumble.
Hooray, mystery solved.
Yeah.
It's a shame we didn't put subtitles in that. I didn't think people would really have bothered, but I guess, yeah, never underestimate that. So, Kyle Katan 1995 asks, what was your first gaming console? I mean, that's even assuming that you are a big gamer yourself.
My first gaming console. Well, guys, it was Nintendo and Game Boy. Nintendo Entertainment System.
Oh, old
Going
time.
way
Yes.
back, yeah.
Same as me.
Yeah.
That was my first.
Yeah, I mean, I remember it being pretty new and having that for years. And I think we even had to buy a replacement at one point. But yeah, I started way back then.
It just
Hardcore.
broke, yeah.
Hardcore playing. Did you get the one? Because I distinctly remember I got the Super Mario and Duck Hunt double
Yes.
pack with mine. Oh, you had the same?
Yes, definitely. Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt. And then we had like that Coliseum one with the mat that never really worked. You know what I'm talking about? Like you run and you jump.
I think I never had it, but I do remember like seeing like pictures of it, like in
Yeah.
top 10 lists on the internet, But I don't think I
Yeah.
ever owned it one.
Yeah, that was my very first.
What's your most recent console?
I just bought a PS4 in December.
It's a good purchase, especially with Type-0 HD just releasing.
No, that
I
was
will
a bad
neither-
segue.
I will neither confirm nor deny that is the reason why I bought a PS4.
I'll confirm that that's the reason why I bought one.
That's the reason why I bought it.
Yes. Good call. Good call.
So we have another question here from Knight of Gales, who wants to know, based on your pretty balanced resume between video games and anime, are there any differences between the two types of roles or aspects that you kind of prefer over doing one against the other?
So, anime, we actually dub it to picture. It's already been done in another language. I mean, sometimes games happen too, but we're kind of limited by what we can do because of the lip flaps that it's already there. But I still love doing it. Video games, you have a bit more freedom. It actually takes a lot less time to record for the most part. Um, I love both. Both have their rewards. It's really hard to choose one or the other, but I'm glad that I get to do a whole variety of, different types of voiceover acting because, yeah, are really rewarding in their own ways.
So moving on to something slightly different, but you've amassed over 50,000 subscribers on YouTube, and one of your highlights is your singing your wide vocal range. But is adopting different personas for singing similar to how you approach like different voice acting styles?
It is actually the same thing. I began to sing because I love to act, and I found it was another way to act. And when I started my YouTube channel, it was when I was still in high school, still in college, actually. And I wasn't really working a lot yet, but I knew that this is what I want to do, and I'm going to do it however I can. And YouTube is a great platform for getting your work out there. So that's the reason why I started posting songs on YouTube. But yeah, one of my favorite things was kind of discovering what I can do with my voice. Because I definitely can do the high-pitched, cute thing, or sing a song like Soul Eater. Sorry, I meant Snake Eater. And that has actually really helped out with my voiceover acting as well, because it kind of showed me what I can do.
Have you had many roles where you've been able to kind of incorporate the two? So have you had to do much singing in your voiceover work?
Oh yeah, I got to sing in one of the Adventure Time video games, which was amazing. Sailor Mars sings in an episode of Sailor Moon, and we got to record a couple songs for the show called K-On!, and we got to sing the songs in English.
Oh, that must be cool.
Yeah, it was awesome.
So on that note, I mean, some of the songs that you've got on your channel are in Japanese. Has that helped at all when you're voicing Japanese characters?
Yeah, especially when I first got started, directors and producers were kind of amazed that I can emulate those sounds that they make, because I usually have to explain in detail what that sound means, like the whole and those sounds. But because, like I said, I grew up with it, watching anime, playing video games, I knew what it was and what it meant and how it sounded like, and I've become really good at kind of emulating those sounds, and it's a really good thing to know, especially when you want to be a voice actor, because you do so much of them.
Wow, I've learned something today then. So, without spoiling the ending of Type-0 HD, was it emotional to record?
Especially your character, I'd say.
So, the ending, without spoiling anything, well, we see Cinque as, she's always, as in her own words, she's always happy. And she's just a character who just kind of seems unfazed by everything. She just kind of rolls through life and it's like, whatever. So when I'm just gonna tell him that she cries. To hear her break down like that, it makes you want to protect her, and it's really powerful because up until this point, you've only seen, the silly, happy Cinque. I felt really honored to play that part, and I was really happy to see like this other side of her when we were recording that.
Yeah, it must have been quite interesting, obviously, because when that line came up, were you a bit kind of taken aback?
Oh yeah, they told me what was going on. What? What, really? Okay. Yeah, I was very surprised by it.
But yeah, on that note, I mean, talking about the recording sessions, were there any funny moments, especially when recording Cinque because she's so quirky? Did that kind of translate into any weird things that happened throughout recording?
Weird things that happened. You know what? I remember one line, I was laughing so hard. It was one, I don't really recall what was happening, but some officers were laughing at Cinque and somebody else, and Cinque just started laughing with them and outlasting them. And I thought it was so funny. So yeah, it's always a little bit hard to move past when you get the giggles in the booth. But as for anything odd, I was really on my best behavior these sessions. I was like, all right, gotta do it right. This is Final Fantasy. I can't remember anything really outlandishly silly that's happened. If I think of something, I'll let you know.
It's fair enough. Sometimes, yeah, especially if you're on your best behavior, then, But yeah, thanks so much for taking the time to speak to us, Christina. I think that's all the questions we've got time for.
Yeah. Thank you guys.
No worries. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you for taking the time out.
Yeah, my pleasure.
But yeah, be sure to check back with us in the future because we've got some more Type-0 HD interviews lined up. Well, quite a few more, actually. But yeah, we've got a ton coming out. But yeah, for this time, thank you so much for speaking with us, Christina.
Thank you guys so much for having me. Take care, everybody.